now we're ready to go as we take a look at what our players are going for here. So yeah, of course, Hexen's gotten around a little bit, but this is Vanguard Celestial versus, Vanguard Infernal, excuse me, versus Vanguard Celestial. And that gives you some very different things. There are some cheeses, absolutely, that you can go for if you play with a Celestial player. You can go and mine out your first Luminite patches very quickly, but double mine from them, and therefore make it very difficult to attack. So I think we're going to see Snoxtar maybe take advantage of this. I don't know. Looks like for now, for the moment, he's going to put his imp and go and expand onto the low side. Of course, Mixu and Elazer. We're going to see. We know Elazer loves his aggression, so he's going Vault first. He's not going to go and get that shrine super quickly, I don't think. We're going to take him a moment. Actually, we have barracks first out of Mixu as well. So we are seeing these camps get taken, right? The health camp, the speed camp, both very, very important to just make sure your units heal. Can I find a unit that is actually taking damage? Okay, this Fiend. Very cool. Okay, so what I wasn't sure about, and I wanted to ask, what I wanted to figure out was whether my middle mouse button is deciding it doesn't want to work today all that well. Whether the health camp that Mixu has affects Elazer and vice versa, and it appears that it does. Right, 57 HP, 58, yeah. So he is regenerating here. All of his units regenerating just like Mixu's have. We don't know. I don't know off the top of my head move speed benefits. Although, as I say that, plus 0.2, so the speed buff is affecting both sides, which is kind of cool if you think about it, right? It says, hey, I'm not surprised that is how that works, but that's how that works, but I'm glad that is how that works. As for now, Elazer and Mixu, they're just running onto the other side of the map. They're getting aggressive with this because they understand, well, if one bit of aggression is good, more must be better. So they're getting the vision cams. Their expansions, of course, much slower than what Aureil and Snoxtar have going for themselves, and that's a lot of prisms early on. Snoxtar playing very macro focused in this game. There we go. So yeah, okay. Not only just a lot of prisms, this is double arc ship coming out of Aureil in this first game in our series, which is kind of cool, right? This is a lot greedier than we'll see a lot of players play in 1v1. Just significantly greedier, as Mixu has learned from Mana. Maybe this is something that Mixu was doing on his own, I don't know, but he has decided to go. He has gone and he's buzzsaw cannoned the Therium camp in the middle, these much more difficult to take camps, and that's going to unlock a ton of army on the map. But for right now, man, these Argents are just way trapped away as Magmadons. They try to stomp in, but well, brutes are heavy, fiends are certainly not, so the bonus damage not really there. And while Snoxtar and Aureil, their supplies in a pretty good spot. They don't have a lot of map control right now. They don't have these creep camps. They only have the one speed camp. That is just about it. And the Lancers are going to try to dive on top of as much as they can. Certainly this Graven should die. Yeah, there we go. It's going to fall down even through the webways. And this Therium camp gets taken out. Elazer gets the money for it, where he's going to go and try to claim this. And yeah, Magmadons are good versus Lancers, but again, the attrition here seems, it's funny, I'm looking at this, and on the one hand, like, okay, the supplies are really good for Aureil and Snoxtar. 34-42 versus, 70 in total versus about, well, I guess it is 70 versus 70, all things considered, but about 7 more supply for Aureil, for the Aureil team, all things considered. But the map control is actually so impactful in this game. So Mixu has his natural done, well, just about. Elazer's roughly saturated on his natural, as they are going much more vertical into this, playing north and south, not just going and playing double south right now, as we see everyone's mining for this large Therium patch. It's going to mine out very quickly. It's kind of the key thing to pay attention to right now. And with the Greater Shrine done, man, I gotta say, I am almost very surprised that we're not seeing some sort of turret on the map for Elazer. Some level of, not even aggression necessarily. I mean, it is aggression, but just that map control, that having a turret on the high, or that just having a turret on the map gives you. You can go teleport Weavers into it. That's really nice. But also, just you can go manifest a Shroudstone on top of the Shroudstone, and it becomes a lot more valuable. But for right now, we do have Weavers and Magmadons coming out of Snoxtar. Lots of Argents on the other side. Now, you do have to be careful. Don't want to get abducted. Don't want to get lashed. But as it stands, singular Argents are not the most important thing right now. And behind this, Guardian Nexus going down. Is this for photocapacitors? Or is this potentially going to be for just adding a bunch of cream to the army? Okay, photocapacitors. So it's going to be Argent Weaver with a Magmadon. Looks like that's going to be the story that Snoxtar and Aureil are trying to tell us in this game, as we have a bunch of med techs, some Weavers on the other side. Not a lot here, but there we go. There's the Shroud Stone getting made. Of course, that has to get targeted down. You don't want Weavers to be able to teleport in the fight all that easily. And now, nice abduct there on the Weaver. Magmadon gets abducted as well, but it's going to still get some of its stomps off, getting a little bit of damage. And now we're going to see Infest goes down, as well as the Weavers are starting to get targeted down by all of these Argents. And this is a promising start. It's 2 Weavers to 1, and a Purify goes down as well. And here's my question. Does this give energy? I don't know. Weaver's not in the range of it right now. I wouldn't be surprised if it did. I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't. But this setup, because Snoxtar and Aureil have been just doing a really nice job. Doing a very nice job of playing greedy for the start of this game. Even as they've lost some camps, it's kind of fine. They're now in this glorious position where they have the tech units that their opponent doesn't really have. Now Graven are on the field, and Mixu loves his Graven. They do a bunch of damage. They do a bunch of area damage. And Splash, they slow your units down. They slow their attack speed down. These bombs are so impactful. They also do plus 25 delight. Or they do 25 total delight. They do so very much. And that knocks these Weavers down so much. But again, Graven against Celestials are not quite as strong as Gravens against Infernals. They have the Purify that knocks these slows down. And we're going to have to see if that is going to allow the Gravens to push. Now, Snoxtar doesn't have his army as part of this push. This is effectively 2-on-1 for the time being. So I think he's going to have to back up here. The effigy is going to get taken down. And Snoxtar, he does have another base on the way. We do have more effigies in the middle of the map. They do have that Therium. But Snoxtar, Shrine here, just a Greater Shrine. We don't have any ideas about an Elder Shrine just yet. And in fairness, I think when we look at these setups, we're not really going to be expecting tier 3 tech for, I mean, I guess Mixu has his, but other than Mixu, we're not really going to be expecting tier 3 tech all that much. I don't think. It's expensive. And with how fraught these 2v2 games are, that can be a bit of a problem. So for now, a lot of Graven are going to run forward. And you know what? They get to abduct all of these Graven. They are detectors. They can just shut down so many of these important spellcasters. Now, some are going to be able to teleport away. But even still, that stun is going to be very nice. Oh, God, these sticky bombs. But Purify knocks down the most of that, and that's going to be fine. And the push continues. I like what we're seeing from Elazer as we take a look at this game, as we stabilize for just a second, because Elazer is expanding north side. He's going to take the double Therium on the north side as well. He is very much playing away from where Snoxtar and Aureil are playing in this game. And that's actually really impactful, because that means that, well, Mixu might be under the gun a little bit. He might find himself in a little bit of a difficult scenario. Elazer's going to have a ton of money, and he's not really going to be pressured all that much. By the way, Shroudstone did get up on the north side. That will enable some teleports later on, as we do see these Graven. By the way, that's not a strike node. That's not a detector. So we're going to see the creation chamber get infiltrated, and that's going to be a dead creation chamber. Bye. And now Graven into the main base. Do we have any? Nope, absolutely no detection here. Nothing to deal with this. So this is going to be a dead Greater Shrine, and no top bar abilities as well. Snoxtar and Aureil, they just have to go right now. That is the solution. They just have to go, because the Graven are just annihilating them from the inside out, knocking down top bar abilities for both players. So that's not going to be a Purify available. That's not going to be Shroudfall. Not that we have that available just at the moment. That's not really going to be any way to drop Shroud on the map right now. It is just all about this army, all about what it can do. And man, with Overcharge, with all these gods here, that feels very difficult to push into. But this army from Snoxtar and Aureil is still very strong. And with, of course, the Cabals as well, removing a little bit of damage from the army, that can be fairly impactful. Even still, main base totally gone by these Graven. Killed off every single thing. And I don't see any detection on the other side. So they're just going to keep killing everything. Yeah, there's one blast node, and it's going to try to do something here, but there are far too many Graven. And this army from Snoxtar and Aureil, it is just slowly getting whittled down. It feels like Snoxtar's army already pretty small. And while the Gravens are, while the Argents are here, and while they can be fairly good, they're tier 1. Yes, They do have photo capacitors. That is very nice for them. And they're actually fighting through this surprisingly well. Far better than I really expected them to. You got to figure at some point this is going to end. The additional gaunts, right, with plague axes are going to slowly knock this down. You got to figure that eventually the fiend the fiend snowball is going to start to happen with how low these are. And there we go. Now it's starting to start just a little bit. These gaunts actually caught behind the overcharged mobs, but the Graven return now, and yeah, this Graven backstab from Mixu has ruined the game. Absolutely ruined the game for Snoxtar and Aureil at this point. So they are very dead. This game is over. They're going to try to retreat, but 39 and 44 supply versus 75 and 89 is just... That's not a story. That is not the story that the Sith will tell you, or the Jedi will tell you. But at the moment... At the moment, this is a dead Snoxtar+Aureil. Like, they're still fighting. I'm not... Maybe on the vague hope that they did enough damage, but... Yeah, they are very dead in this game. Number one, Mixu and Elazer off of the Graven counterattack get far too much damage. And that is game number one. Here on the bottom left, it's Snoxtar and Aureil, of course. Upper right, Mixu and Elazer. And yeah, I do apologize. There's no way for me to fix this. The overlay being a little bit weird, but yeah, you know, it's early. We're in beta. This is not even an officially supported game mode. This is just one dev who's like, I really like 2v2. Let me go and have a 2v2 setup. And I think that is very cool. Now, Boneyard has given us the best 2v2 games that I have seen. I think that's probably fair to say, as we see that the Battle of the Hexens, they're not going to get anything. That's fine. Has given us some of the better... Is this just mirrored Boneyard? Yeah. Pori for the most part. Not quite. I mean, we don't see this high ground down here, but it's a little bit bigger of a main base. Might not even be all that bigger. It's a little bit bigger of the main base. There's no... There's a second Luminite mine in the main. Of course, this is a double instead of a single Therium mine. The Vision Camp is placed a little bit differently. It's not here. It's down here. Or it's up on the high ground a little bit. You know, there's not a... They're less... And part of it is they're just less camps. I think, yeah, it's less camps. So there are no resource camps. There's only 3 camps. There's I guess there's 1 Therium camp, right? But there's no healing camp. I'm sorry. Yes, there is a Therium camp. There is a Therium camp. There is a healing camp. But things are just placed a little bit differently. And as I kind of look at it, and I said this during Stormgate Nexus as well, I kind of prefer this version of Boneyard, I think. I think this is a better map. I think in general, because certainly there are less, a little bit more space right on these platforms on the outside, but we have less camps on the edge of the map. And I think that one thing that I think Stormgate has made a mistake in thus far, and again, this is beta, things can change, but in their map design, is I think they've put far too many camps on the edge of things. I think creep camps should be centralizing moments of impact, as we're going to see right now. I don't think Mixu, I don't think Elazer, there we go. I don't think Elazer was able to snipe that, but I think camps should be these centralizing positions. Not things on the edge where you just kind of decide to go and creep. Both you and your opponent decide to creep us. By the way, this is an unmitigated disaster. Mixu, Snoxtar is going to lose everything, and probably the base too. Yeah, this is 2v2, Piroka. This is the 2v2 cup. Of course, if you want to support this, ! Matcherino. To my knowledge, there are no bans on race compositions. I can look at the rulebook, but I don't think, say, double Infernal would be banned or something like that. But anyways, so talking about the map, because I do like this map a little bit. Is this going to be Kree gone? Is the story from Aureil and Snoxtar, but that can work, but it's not really being allowed to. It's not really being let up off the ground here. Although the rush distance is long, so it looks like for now maybe they're going to get forced back. Not before maybe a couple more Kree go down or something, but it looks like Mixu and Aureil, I said they're going to get forced back here, but they're just adding more brutes into this. And what is Mixu doing? Mixu does have his natural done. He's building Lancers. He's rallying them it didn't proxy the way that Elazer did, but he's rallying across just the same. And, you know, it looks like through some, you know, through some heavy defense, Snoxtar is going to be able to find their way back. But anyway, so when I talk about this, I like this map a little bit more than I like the 1v1 version of Boneyard. Because if you look at these camps, they're all relatively central. They're not as central as I would like them to be, but they're all relatively central. And what that means is that they're kind of this centralizing force now. It's nice body blocking here with the Kree. Should knock, yeah, there we go. At least one of the brutes down. And plague axes are done for Snoxtar as well, so maybe he can find something as he finds his way onto the shroud. And of course, all you got to do is apply infest, and then, well, certainly we can see all of these Kree go to work. So this is a really powerful composition that we're looking at right now. Again, you're just looking for the splash damage. Now we will see that Shroud Stone made manifest. That's going to force things back for the time being, but the Fiend change seems like it can be fairly good. As, by the way, Mixu playing that build that he found so much success with in the Logitech G plays, where you're going into things very quickly, right? You're going into tier 3 very quickly, but you just have this one evac to just give you a little bit more map control. These Lancers, they're getting heavily taken down. Of course, the Kree have to be the bodyguards for these Gaunts. The Gaunts are slowly getting whittled down. Only 3 of them that remain for the time being, but you gotta be so careful with this evac. It is so low. It's starting to get whittled down that much more with Infesta. Yeah, that is dicey indeed. And some Fiends are gonna get made. Again, that's the play. Elazer doing a very nice job of making sure that he's splitting his brutes, so when they die at the very least, they're not turning into Fiends. There is that. But these, oh man, these Lancers are very, very low, and if the Kree get around him, that's gonna be A, 3 Fiends, but B, just some very impactful units. But it seems like for now, that's not gonna happen. Aureil and Snoxtar are gonna be able to survive for, they're gonna, you know, be effective with this pressure, but Mixu and Elazer, they do survive. This can be considered surviving. They do survive for the time being. Meanwhile, Elazer, I kind of expected to see high command on the way. I'm not gonna lie. I thought this was gonna be straight into Gravens off the evac, but guess he doesn't think he can afford it for the time being. He's under so much pressure with the Kree and everything else. So instead, there's the Vulcan on the way, and Vulcan are super polarized units. Sometimes they look really good, and sometimes they look just objectively horrible. So for right now, medtechs are getting added in. These Lances are pretty well upgraded. As Magmadons, they get included as well. And certainly the problem here as well, we have this effigy down 5 out of 5, but it's on the low ground, and Shroud doesn't go high ground. So second effigy is still vulnerable. It's the third one that's going to have to go, of course, and maybe get a more permanent spot here. But that's just not really a thing, because the Vulcan's here now, and all these units are light. And Mixu is just going to shred this attack at this point. Aureil and Snoxtar, their supplies are still kind of okay, but Mixu, he was untouched by this aggression for the first 10 minutes of this game. Oh, we don't have 10 minutes, but for 7 minutes of this game. And now he has just about everything he could possibly want. But just because that attack into Mixu is slowing down doesn't mean that this setup is going to be over. So Kree are going to find their way into the third base, and that's a lot of dead imps going to go down potentially. Of course, Aureil doing the thing where you get your damage done, right? Then you move the Kree a little bit so they start rolling, and then you go and get the explosion again. That can be very nice. So that was a lot of dead imps. There's a little bit of miscommunication there. Both Bobs and a Shrine being put on this setup, so not exactly sure what was happening there, but it's gonna be fine. Kree check bottom side, they don't find anything, and well, the Shrine is gonna go up, and well, Aureil again. Aureil just has these 2 packs of Kree, and they're looking for as much damage as they can possibly find. So that's gonna be some. By the way, targeting down these high veterancy Bobs pretty important, because well, 2 tier 3 Bobs are just as good as 4 Bobs building something. So it actually is fairly important, as we're going to see the mass repair, and with this number of Kree, they're going to slowly take them down. And with no overcharge as well, this is a lot of economic damage, as the Kree on both sides of the map are really causing problems for Mixu and Mixu and Elazer right now. And yeah, this is going to be Vulcan Gaunt, or a Vulcan Lancer, excuse me. 3 Vulcans, a bunch of Lancers, and Kree versus Lancers, they don't do all that well. But Snoxtar's supply, but Elazer's supply is, its fairness is starting to get back there. We do have a greater Shrine, but I can't help but feel that I kind of look at the tech here, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, but this tech, right? This, well, you got a bunch of Weavers. Maybe. So what I was gonna say was I can't help but feel that this tech that we're seeing Mixu and Elazer get to, is going to be a little bit invalidated by Snoxtar getting himself up to a bunch of Weavers. He's got the Gaunts for now. They do have, they're actually lacking their second upgrade. Where's our Ritual Chamber? Yeah, there we go. So Reaper Rush is going to be done soon. And I was going to say, you know, I can't help but feel that this just gets invalidated by Snoxtar getting a bunch of Weavers and abduct and lashing everything. And, you know, then the Vulcans don't do anything. But he's not really building those. He just has a bunch of Gaunts. And while a bunch of Gaunts can be solid, that's not the tech that I expected Snoxtar to have right now on 3 bases. On a, by the way, you know, small things, but I really like the look of this teal prism. Not just like, we have standard red, blue, but the teal prism. I think this just the color. This looks good. This feels very, for whatever, it just feels very Celestials. I think it's a lot better than just like the solid, the blue, this blue color right now. But anyways, Vulcan drops are going to find their way onto the other side, and somewhere in heaven, Athenius is smiling. Or, you know, in Portland. Portland heaven, I don't know. But that is a ton of damage getting done here. All the imps die just immediately. These are level 1 or these are tier 1 Vulcans, so they have a little bit more veterancy, doing a little bit more damage. Now we're going to see the bust attempted into Mixu. Certainly doesn't have the Vulcans that he would like to have, but Elazer+Mixu, in the minutes that they've had, have macroed very well. Very, very well. And despite the setup that I really think, I expected Snoxtar+Mixu to do really much better, to be able to grow their supply much faster. But as it stands, I think 1 Vulcan did go down from Mixu, but this attack doesn't really do anything. At all. It doesn't accomplish anything whatsoever, and Snoxtar just lost an entire imp line. Maybe gonna lose more. There we go. Vulcan's gonna start to spin up. We have the shield on it, so it's not gonna die for quite a while. And, well, we do have the evac right there. Returning to hangar, getting right back home, dodging over. There's no static defense there. Evac gets back home. We're gonna see, of course, the Vulcan get repaired as well. And this is just a lot of damage. This is a significant amount of damage that Snoxtar is dealing with. He does have that Twilight Spire. No Elder Shrine on the way just yet, but all of a sudden, I mean, Helicarriers are out, Graven are out, Weavers are here to shut down any of the anti-spellcasters, any of the Weavers of Snoxtar, and while Elazer+Mixu took a lot of damage in the early game, they really did. That was certainly those creep run-bys, they did a lot, they did so much. At this point, it doesn't seem to matter, so Nightfall is going to go try to make something happen. It's just going to get dodged, but now Infest, as the Gaunts continue to chase here, we're going to see some sticky bombs kind of landing. Weavers, or excuse me, Graven teleporting forward, dropping sticky bombs on top of all of the Kree. And this really just feels like the beginning of the end. This really just feels like there is not, I mean, the Kree are trapped into a corner. They can shred the Gaunts, so the Gaunts do have to kite away. Oh, excuse me. Gaunts do have to be very careful with this one, but the splits are going to be fine. Looks like there's a big run by, though, on the right side. Snoxtar says, okay, let's alleviate some pressure here. I'm going to get on top of a Mixu, and this is going to be a dead third base. That's going to be a lot of free Gaunts as well, or free Fiends as well. So this is the damage that Snoxtar has been really looking at for quite a while. But the question is whether he gets his army out, because, well, here comes a flank, right? More Brutes, more Gaunts coming on in from Elazer. And Mixu just fighting on the other side. He's fine with this. He's okay. He trusts Elazer to be the bulwark, to keep him alive, even as that third base does go down. And this is still a lot of Gaunts. This is still a lot of Fiends, and it's only Weavers still here. Weavers are light units. They take bonus damage from the Gaunts, and the splash damage is going very, very nice. The Fiends continue to get made, but it looks like Elazer, as he has, yeah, he spent some Animus on these reinforcements. He's going to have a bunch of Gaunts getting added in on the backside, and that is going to sweep this through. Snoxtar loses so very much. Yeah, he gets the third base of Mixu, but no, not worth it there whatsoever. Nightfall just tried to slow things down, but these Gaunts are not happy. This army of Snoxtar, 46, Aureil 58, and dashing in with the Vulcans as well with a hot pickup just to make sure that they can maintain contact over and over again. Even without the Sky Sprint retrofit, even without the speed boost there, we're going to see, there we go, promotion gets the evac back up to full HP. Vulcans dash in on top of the Shroud Stone. At this point, supply, more stuff beats less stuff. We got the Helicarrier just sitting on top of these Kree, adding that much more damage. Lashes as well, just to make sure they die very quickly, and that splash damage that they're going to do. The death throws of the Kree aren't going to do much of anything to these Weavers. So at this point, Elazer+Mixu combined north of 200 supply. Snoxtar and Aureil south of 75. And they got a lot of damage early on, but Mixu and Elazer both did an incredible job. Did such a good job of macroing back up, of making sure they got to the army composition that they needed. And at this point, Snoxtar and Aureil, they're going to go down to the lower bracket. Mixu and Elazer, they're looking for a date, I assume. I don't know, but I'm assuming with the Aftermath boys, with Albino and Theory in the upper bracket finals. And that sounds very exciting. Burning 2 saying this game is looking much better now. I could give it a new chance. I think... Okay, looks like I missed the GG. The game is over. We're going to get out of here.